We had a strong night of racing at Tabcorp Park Menangle last Saturday night. We had Group 3 racing, and Chairman of Stewards Graham Locke is here to go through all the races with us. Race 1 was won by Clancy's Fob Watch, and there was a couple of drivers questioned here.
Yeah, well, Clancy's Fob Watch came from the rear of the field in a pretty quick last half, 56.7, which adds merit to that performance. There was an incident in the vicinity of the 400 metres where Mr Turnbull had commenced to come back down the track and tighten the running of underwork driven by Joe Tafe, and as a consequence Mr Turnbull was issued with a reprimand for causing interference. We did question John McCarthy, the driver of Joys of Babe, in respect to his middle quarters. Joys of Babe went 27.8, 27.2 in the middle of the race. And Mr McCarthy did explain to us that he was surprised at the semaphore sectionals. He didn't think he was going quite that quick. He did refer us back to previous performances of Joys of Bay, which more or less replicated those sectionals. I wouldn't say they exactly replicated those sectionals, and were satisfied in the end that they weren't unusual. Mr McCarthy did say that he thought the horse had fought on well and basically was satisfied with the performance. We also questioned Mr Turnbull, the trainer driver of Mouse in the House, which on face value for a horse that was well in the market was disappointing. Mr Turnbull was prone to blame the circumstances of the race. He said that he was obliged to attempt to make ground around the final turn, and given that sectional was 27.2, being out 3 and it briefly 4 wide, wasn't in the horse's best interest. So he was, in his own mind, prepared to forgive the run, although he did say that he thought it was slightly disappointing nevertheless.
Okay, well, we've got to go to race 2, and this race is won by Burning Cash.
Yes, again another last to first, and again a very smart last sectional, so adds merit to the performance. Very competitive race. We did report that there were a number of runners held up. Burra Sullivan, Coldplay Road, Eric Clapton and Let's Cut Loose were all held up, and Magic Oats was held up until getting clear at about the 100 metre mark.
Race 3, Shane Tritton was fined here, and this race was won by Miss Artistic Tara.
Yeah, been racing well. Mr Tritton was late in notifying Todd McCarthy as the driver of Glen Isla, and later in the evening for notifying Chris Geary, I think it was, as the driver of Mac Beauty. And it's certainly some focus of Harness Racing New South Wales and the stewards that trainers respond to their requirements under the rules to notify the drivers by the prescribed time. Harness Racing cops some criticism in the media for particularly Menangle meetings where there's a number of dual drivers make the press, and we're certainly working very hard to eliminate that, Amanda.
Okay, and head to race 4, and this race was won by Gina Grace, and Todd McCarthy was his driving style was looked at here. Yes,
Todd has got an ongoing situation where the stewards continually review his driving style. There's a agreement by stewards panels around Australia that drivers are permitted to drive at an angle of 45 degrees or thereabouts in interpretation of the rule requiring them not to have their body extending outside the confines of the sulky. So we frequently review Todd's style. We thought on this occasion that he was well over the odds, and he was charged and fined the sum of $200. In saying that, Todd's one of our most active drivers and also one of our most successful, and he has lots of drives and infrequently breaches the rule. We also had an issue where Mr Pizzuto notified a change of tactics for the horse Gina Grace NZ, the eventual winner of the race, that the horse would be driven further forward. We took issue with the fact that that was provided to us beyond the time prescribed. Mr Pizzuto's explanation was that the owners had been late notifying him. Our view was that the stable is a serial an offender, if you like. There's been 5 breaches of the rule since January 2016. That being the case, there was a penalty of $400 imposed. So Gina Grace was well and truly in the headlines in that race, Amanda.
Okay, well, race 5, we had a dead heat. Lots more art, and our Leo went head to head on the line.
Yeah, look, a very, very, very tight photo, and I get the ability to look over the judge's shoulder, perhaps as I leave the box, and you get a sense from time to time that the judge finds certain finishes more demanding than others, and clearly this was one that was going to test him. Ultimately, but I'd confirm the decision. We had another incident in the race where Ronald George in the straight was full of running and looking to find clear running, and in doing so, driven by Darren Binskin, that horse made contact with the outside sulky wheel of Lucky Voodoo, which was deflated, and Mr Binskin was fined $200 for carelessness.
Okay, race 6 was won by Better Bet Black.
Yeah, look, I guess anybody that goes to the harness racing meetings at Menangle wouldn't begrudge Better Bet Black winning a race of this nature. He's frequently one of our better performed horses, races in the best class. It doesn't always, or recently hasn't always had the best of draws, and was seen to advantage on Saturday night. The race, from our perspective, was dominated by Excitus in the City and Millwood Liberty. Excitus in the City settled well back, commenced to make ground in the straight, and was, I would have thought, appearing as though it was going to hit the line very strongly. Nathan Jack had to take hold when he and Darren Binskin on Millwood Liberty, which was also in need of a run, virtually contested the same run. Millwood Liberty beat Nathan, or Darren Binskin beat Nathan Jack to the run. In the end, we felt that Nathan Jack hadn't got into the run quickly enough, but we did reprimand Mr Binskin for shifting in the manner that he did.
How about anything to report out of race 7?
Not of any great detail, Amanda, no.
Okay, so we'll go to race 8, the Trotters, another Group 3 race on the night.
Yeah, look, again, a very competitive race, and I guess the two better, or certainly the class horse in On Thunder Road, and a horse that was suited under the mobile conditions in Bad Habit, fought the race out. And clearly On Thunder Road is going very, very well at the moment, and asserted himself as the punters expected. There was an issue worthy of note in this race that Vic Chevelle, driven again by Darren Binskin, was inconvenienced at the top of the straight when Paris Pepperell went off gate and galloped, and that had the effect that Vic Chevelle had to swing quite widely on the track, which might have broken its momentum, but in the manner in which it finished its race off very strongly, punters might take note of that performance.
Okay, Graham, so are there other matters that you wish to talk about in harness racing in New South Wales at the moment?
Just two other matters, I guess, Amanda, during the week. That last week Harness Racing New South Wales announced that the substance EPO had been detected in a sample taken within New South Wales. I'd just like to stress that this was an out-of-competition sample, not a race day sample, and that Harness Racing New South Wales undertakes quite a robust out-of-competition strategy. Our regulatory veterinarian has been far and wide in recent times, and that budget, of course, is provided by the board, and the strategy has the support of the board, but it just extends the net, if you like, away from simply the focus of race day. And secondly, in respect to the sample coming from My Hard Copy, just to reinforce some aspects which haven't been notified in the media, that samples were taken from all horses as they entered the retention facility, that whilst in the retention facility the horses are under 24-hour surveillance, CCTV footage, and of course that footage was reviewed by Harness Racing New South Wales stewards. And the other I guess misconception that's out there is that Harness Racing New South Wales provides the feed for those horses, and that's not the case. It's typically the responsibility of trainers to provide their own feedstuffs. What is brought into the barn is monitored and recorded by the security detail, but I just thought it was useful, perhaps, Amanda, to clarify those issues which perhaps have the source of some misconception in the media.
Yeah, no, thank you, and I'm sure many of the viewers will appreciate that.
Thanks, Amanda.